It looks like Capcom is going to be capping off 2025 with a monumental W because Monster Hunter Wilds is one of the more successful games of 2025, and of course, we're only 3 months in. So that being said, it made history selling 8 million copies in just 3 days, marking Capcom's fastest selling title. And of course, it achieved the 5th highest peak concurrent players on Steam and became Capcom's highest ever. So when it comes to affecting the masses, seems like Capcom has found themselves a ginormous W, especially with Monster Hunter. So when it comes to Pokemon and the whole mantra being gotta catch 'em all, I feel like Monster Hunter Wilds is gotta kill them all, because as far as all these different monsters that I've been watching throughout the game, as far as different reviews and players playing the game and just watching how different animals react, you are indeed the predator throughout this entire game. And of course, hence the name, Monster Hunter, right? But as far as watching the actual mechanics and how it doesn't have a health bar, and really you have to pay attention to the animals in the environment and how they move while you're fighting them to know where their entire health bar is, I think is a nice attention to detail, especially for long-time Monster Hunter fans. Now, with that being said, of course, we got to get into the continuous issue we have with Capcom, which of course is the PC optimization. I don't know what it is about the PC version, but of course, everybody and their mama came out to the point where Steam's review initially fell below 50% positive, but it has since then recovered to 62%. But that's just to let you know how people out the gate was looking at the overall optimization of the game and how it's breaking down on them. And then of course they realized, hold up, I paid money for this game. So not only did they pay money for a game, but now it's breaking down on PC. So of course they left a lot of negative reviews, which is why it was at 50% initially, but now it's recovered to 62%. Now, why do I bring up PC? It's simply for the fact that Monster Hunter Wilds is currently most popular on PC. So you would think when the game initially came out, everybody's just discrediting the PC optimization, saying the PC version is trash and runs like garbage. You would think people would go to PlayStation and Xbox. Well, you're sorely mistaken, because of course they wanted the graphics at the highest possible, or maybe the frame rate at the highest possible frame. I don't understand why people kept going to PC when the PC version was unoptimized. But anyways, with that being said, Monster Hunter Wilds is the 4th most played game on PC, with 224,000 people currently playing the game and a 24-hour peak of 308,000. Now, of course, that's not it, as when you go to Xbox, it's still doing phenomenal on Xbox, as is the 8th most played game currently on Xbox. But interestingly enough, when I go to PlayStation, Monster Hunter Wilds is nowhere to be found. I guess when they wanted that Horizon cameo or DLC, Capcom must have said no and made PlayStation upset. I can't understand why the game is not as popular on PlayStation like it is on Xbox and PC, but that is why I cover all platforms, right? So with that being said, this game, I don't even know why I have to clarify this, but this game is not on Nintendo Switch. So in case you're not looking at the game right now, Analytic Dreamz video on Spotify to see the video along with the audio. Let's just say Nintendo's hardware was not up to par, right? And even regarding the Switch 2, there was no official announcement, and basically it was like when not confirming or unconfirming Monster Hunter Wilds on Nintendo Switch 2. All I'm gonna say is when the people at Capcom come out and basically let you know that the Nintendo Switch is not up to par, which is why it will not be released on that platform, and our game is designed to leverage cutting edge technology, safe to assume when the Nintendo Switch comes out, this game will not be a part of its Rolodex of games. So anyways, that being said, if you don't know about Monster Hunter Wilds, one of the biggest intriguing factors about it is, of course, the plethora of monsters throughout the game. And with that being said, as far as your playstyle, you have 14 weapon types, not weapons, 14 weapon types with new mechanics like focus mode for targeting weak points. And this game introduces Seikret. I think that's how you say it. I have no idea. We got to use Jarvis for that one.
500 and
okay, that's not it. It's not reading off what I just highlighted. Hold on, maybe it'll do it this time.
500.
Okay, it still didn't do it. Don't you love when I do this live? Ain't this? All right, let's try this one more time.
Introduces Seikret.
Seikret. All right, there we go. I still feel like it pronounced it wrong. But anyways, so with that being said, there's also well, as far as the Seikret, the thing that I'm mispronouncing, it's a bird-like mount for faster travel and mid-hunt weapon swapping. So with that being said, you have to understand that this is the notable addition to the game, and also other things that highlight the game. And as far as its intriguing factor to a lot of people, is it has a lot of dynamic weather elements. Now, of course, I'm currently playing Assassin's Creed Shadows. Shameless plug. Follow me at Analytic Dreamz with a Z on Twitch or Kick or any of my YouTube or Twitter platforms, which I go live on, to watch me play these games. But as far as Assassin's Creed Shadows, you have to realize that dynamic weather, when done right, really makes a game 10 times better when it comes to the gameplay loop, because now you're not looking at the same thing time and time again. You never know what you know the seasons go in order, but as far as what mission you're gonna approach at what time in the season, it gives it more of a unpredictable factor. Because one time I went to a phenomenal view perch point in Assassin's Creed Shadows, but guess what? It was thundering, so I couldn't see any of it. So it's stuff like that where everybody's playthrough is going to be a little different, because you could go to a place while the season is in the snow, and you could go to another place while it's like thundering everywhere. You know what I mean? Like, or no, you could go to a place where it's all snow, and then another place could go to that same place and it's sunshine and rainbows, right? So I don't know if that's how it is in Monster Hunter Wilds, but as far as Assassin's Creed Shadows, that's how it plays out. So whenever I hear dynamic weather and seasonal shifts affecting monster behavior, I'm thinking it adds to the unpredictability factor that a lot of gamers love. Also, the endgame and replayability. Replayability, as you could already tell, having 14 weapon types, Capcom was really emphasizing the ability to replay and have a whole new experience, a fresh start with all these different weapon types. As when it comes to in-game and replayability, it has a lot of gear crafting and weapon experimentation to keep players engaged. So if you think you're going to stick with a weapon the whole time and not want to try out any of the other weapon types, they make it more appealing to start from a new weapon type, because you're technically not starting from ground zero, because the way it works is basically you can use your XP garnered and reset that and put it all into another weapon type and start to learn that weapon. So that's another factor that adds into the replayability of the game. Another thing that I wanted to talk about was a lot of people was criticizing the paid cosmetics expansion. I think when it comes to paid DLC, it is very egregious in a $70 game. Now, on the other hand, AAA games take a lot of money to put together. I'm not trying to be a shield for the corporation. I'm just playing devil's advocate. Obviously, the side I lean more towards is no paid DLC, but you just have to put in perspective for why they have paid DLC, just in case somebody's out there like, oh, they must be doing it for no reason. Like, there's a reason. It's not justifiable, but it's not like they're just out here wanting to see the world burn type logic in adding paid DLC. There's a reason behind the madness, even though we don't agree with it. I still don't agree with it. I think if you charge $70, everything in the game should be either able to be earned, or yeah, that's it. You should be able to earn it. Everything that's paid DLC, you should be able to earn in the game if somebody is putting a lot of hours into it. Anyways, with that being said, because I feel like people act like, oh, if you able to play 60 to 80 hours in my game, you should be able to pay $10 to $15 more for a cosmetic. Like, how about you look at it from the marketing perspective? I'm adding hours, concurrent hours to your game that you're probably going to take all that data and go to PlayStation, go to Xbox, and be like, hey, look at all these hours that our players are putting into the game. Don't you want to buy into that for our next installment of the franchise? Like, people act like we don't know how business works when it comes to marketing and promotion. They just act like, oh, we're doing y'all a favor giving you 60 to 80 hours in a game for only $70. Like, actually, as we've seen, a lot of the most popular games was successful with the whole free-to-play approach, right? And using Fortnite wouldn't be the greatest example because that's an outlier. But honestly, when it comes to gaming, if you put quality over monetization, I think a lot of gamers will recognize that and support the game more because of that, right? Prime example, Suicide Squad. A very phenomenal idea. Introduce the Justice League without letting you play the Justice League. How did that end up flopping? Oh, at the last minute, they approached WB approach. Who made the Arkham games? I'm blanking on who made the Arkham games. Arkham game developer. Let's see. Oh, Rocksteady. Okay. So WB approached Rocksteady and it was like, hey, I know you got a fire idea. I know you're running through a phenomenal story and you got your writers in the writer room going crazy right now, putting up 81 points like the Kobe Bryant himself. Let's make this a live service. And guess what? We ain't heard a good review of Suicide Squad since. All these live service managers out here trying to change good stories into live service games, and they realize, or they wonder why their games are flopping. Guess what? You chose monetization over quality, and that is the result you get. So anyways, I just want to go on that whole tangent because, you know, the paid DLC is a big deal over at the Monster Hunter Wilds community. And they're basically talking about it in a way that it makes players like want better optimization. Like, if you're going to be charging this much, at least make the game work on the game. Like the $70 that we pay for this game, the package the product that we got is still broken. So why are you charging us for additional content when the initial content you gave us isn't even optimized? So like I said, this is a solid game. Hopefully you can tell throughout this entire review that it's a solid game. It's not a bad game. Just wanted to point out those discrepancies in the community, right? Because when it comes to reviews, it's glowing reviews all across the board. Really highly acclaimed from a lot of different conglomerates, such as GameSpot gave this an 8 out of 10. IGN gave this an 8 out of 10. Games Radar gave this an 8 out of 10. But then we do have some 9 out of 10s and some 10 out of 10s, as VGC gave it a 10 out of 10. Press Start gave it a 10 out of 10. So a lot of these gaming conglomerates seemingly love the game. A lot of people who are putting hours into this game are seemingly loving it. Is it a game of the year contender? I know that's probably something that people are wondering. I do believe that it has a strong consideration for being a nomination, but I would say Split Fiction is for sure a nomination for game of the year, right? So that's one out of the way. And then you never know what Nintendo's going to come out with. I feel like they always have some sort of Mario or Zelda game that ends up being a nominee for Game of the Year. And let's see how many, I don't know how many slots there are for Game of the Year. How many slots for Game of the Year at the Game Awards? Because these are, like, at this point, especially the way the engagement is, this is a huge deal to win this to win the top award at the Game Awards show because of how much credibility the fans have put into it. It's now become the Grammys for gaming. So that's why it's such a big deal. So we have 6 slots for the Game of the Year nomination. Split Fiction already has one of those, so that leaves 5 games, right? Now you have Nintendo. I think they're going to take at least one of those, right? So now you got 4. So with that being said, if GTA comes out, now you have 3. I believe that there's going to be at least 2 to 3 more games that are better than Monster Hunter Wilds by the time the Game Awards happens. Now, of course, I'm open to being wrong, but with that being said, I believe when it comes to Game of the Year, it's facing a huge uphill battle because of the game being broken at launch. One of the biggest discrepancies I had with the Game Awards show, I think it was 2023 or 2024. Let me see. Jedi Survivor release date. Okay, so it was 2022. Okay, so Fallen Order, is that the same thing? Survivor the same thing as Jedi Order? No, Jedi Order is the previous one. Okay, so Survivor came out 2023. Fallen Order came out 2022. Man, hold up. Where's the third game for Cal Kestis? It's 2025. Maybe I'm tripping. I don't know. Okay, so May 2022, when Star Wars Jedi Survivor came out. The reason why I'm bringing this up is because I believe when the Game Awards show happened, it got snubbed from a lot of nominations for the simple fact that it was broken at launch. And not completely broken, but it was noticeably broken at launch. What is Monster Hunter Wilds right now? Noticeably broken on the PC version at launch. So with that being said, I think it faces an uphill battle when it comes to Game of the Year. But of course, time will only tell if it ends up being a nominee for Game of the Year or not. So that being said, click my link tree in my bio. Let me know one of my social medias. What do you think about Monster Hunter Wilds just becoming Capcom's fastest selling title ever? And if you've played the game, what is your favorite part about Monster Hunter Wilds?